As we travel farther and deeper into space, communication between the ground and astronauts will become more and more complicated. How do you feel when you've had a bad phone connection or can't get through to someone you're trying to reach? Well, communication could be critical in handling medical or other emergency situations for astronauts traveling far from Earth. A study is looking at how delays in communication may affect astronauts on the space station. ISS commentator Lori Meggs at the NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center spoke to the PI to learn more about the COM delay assessment.
It's an evaluation of the impact of delays in communication to and from the International Space Station on human behavior, performance, and well-being.
So we're saying that the delays and not being able to communicate, it will affect the behavior of astronauts? Is that
Well, the expectation is that as humans travel further and further into space and eventually to Mars, that the length of time it takes to communicate to and from a space vehicle will grow larger and larger. And in doing so, the types of communications that are normally between the ground and the space crews will become compromised by the fact that it will take longer to ask a question or to get an answer to a question. And particularly when performing certain vital tasks, that may have implications for how successful a crew may be in performing the task, how much autonomy they will have to exercise in order to complete assigned tasks, and potentially, the psychological ramifications that it may have in terms of levels of stress, levels of uncertainty, and so forth.
So how do you study that on the space station?
Well, on the space station, we've had astronauts perform certain tasks that we vary in terms of their novelty and their criticality or complexity under conditions of normal degrees of communication to and from Earth, and then a 50-second one-way delay. And we monitor the performance of each task through audio recordings, but we also, at the end of each task, ask both ground support personnel as well as the astronauts to complete questionnaires that let us know, how much difficulty they experienced in communicating to and from the ground, how it impacted their ability to perform the task, how much impact it had on both their own well-being, levels of stress, as well as the morale of the crew itself.
From that, are there any Earth applications that this would relate to?
Well, delays in communication occur for a variety of reasons in all types of settings. So in other remote and isolated environments on Earth, oftentimes, even with the advantages of satellite communications, there are instances when communications can be delayed for one reason or another. You yourself may experience frustration when you send out an email and don't receive an instantaneous answer, for example. There also may be applications for individuals who are isolated and confined for a variety of reasons. Older adults who are homebound, for instance, who may need information and advice from healthcare providers or service providers, and may experience delays in getting that types of communication. We're really attempting to identify countermeasures or strategies which will improve both the quality of communication and perhaps reduce some of the negative, potentially negative aspects of not getting information in a timely fashion and needing to exercise more autonomy. How do we prepare individuals, or how do we prepare groups to do that will be one of the most important implications from the research that we're doing on the space station right now.